You're listening to Cards to the Moon, a podcast about trading cards from both a collector and investor perspective. We hope you'll stick around for the ride as we take a deep dive into the state of the hobby, share some hot takes, hopefully some useful advice, and fun stories along the way. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Cards to the Moon. This is episode 331, and my name is Clark from 5cardguys.com. You can also find me at 5cardguys on Instagram, YouTube, and on Facebook. And co-hosting with me today, as usual, is Hyung, who is at Cho Hyung on Instagram and YouTube. And we also have John, who you can find on Instagram at TradeYouAtRecess. All right, let's get right into it. Off the top today, I want to actually talk about this when it launched a few weeks ago, but the timing to discuss Snype, which is the new online auction platform by Rick Probstein. The timing worked out better because some of you already know when the first ever round of auctions were about to end on Snype.com, the system glitched and crashed. Big uh-oh. From other reports that I read, the Snype feature, I guess the feature where it gets its name, where you could bid last second on an item, when you tried to do that, it didn't work. And what it did instead was it prematurely ended the whole auction. So as of this recording, if you go on Snype.com, it's still down, but it does have a message that reads, quote, "We're experiencing a system-wide technical issue due to high volume that affected all auctions on the platform. To protect the integrity of bidding and ensure a fair experience for every buyer and seller, we are temporarily taking Snype offline. All impacted auctions will be canceled and relisted with full visibility once the issue is resolved. Thank you for your patience. We'll be back shortly," end quote. So first question for you guys. Do you think Snype will recover from all of this? Or do you think maybe Probstein should have stayed on eBay where he was the number one seller in trading cards?
Yikes. I mean, it's not ideal, I think, for Snype, but I think it's something that, every new business will probably run into, whether it's, glitches or issues. But yeah, I would say that's a pretty big one where it's just like, damn, man, out of all the things that could go wrong, that's probably one of the worst things, I think, as a startup, if you're launching a new product or starting a new product. So, but with that being said, should they have, gone back to eBay? I'm sure there's a reason why they left in the first place. So I think it was the right move. That obviously there's a lot of money on the table for Probstein to kind of go independent. But I would think that maybe the better idea was not necessarily start something from scratch. I'm pretty sure there's like smaller platforms that, already has the build maybe, and not test pilot it on day one launch. Maybe do like a beta where, it's like a 3-month period, right? Or something that could have maybe avoided this. But I definitely do think it will hurt them. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, if you go on the Snype site, it does say Snype beta on it. So It is a beta version they're testing. Okay. But yeah. What do you think, John?
Conspiracy. What if they started all the original bids were Probstein, his products, and his friends, and they realized nobody's on this platform? Glitch it all. We're about to lose a lot of money.
I was looking for deals. But
half joking aside, that is an absolute disastrous start. Like Probstein, I don't know how it is with the rest of the market, but Probstein has not really built the greatest of reputations when you compare them to Golden Auctions and some of the big brands in terms of like faces of auctions. Even though Probstein is mostly an eBay product, and I think it was kind of an uphill battle to begin with, and then to have this happen on sort of like the opening soft launch, that is an absolute disastrous start. Like I don't know how is going to be really difficult to recover or get consumer confidence, already to their initial launch on their own, sort of as like a independent party. So it's a tough look, tough start. Like I don't even know if like it's a nail in the coffin to their start to begin with. It could be that bad. I don't know. So yeah, it's I don't wish them, you know, bad luck. Obviously, you want everyone to succeed. But man, hopefully he can take himself out of this one because that's a tough first look.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we first even discussed Snipe, when it didn't even launch yet, we're all hoping that it would work well because, competition is always a good thing. But when it did launch, and when I wanted to record this episode a couple weeks ago before this disaster, I was gonna say like the site itself doesn't look great. It looks pretty clunky. You know what I mean? It looks like I might have paid an intern to do it, and that's how it looks. Yeah,
Shots fired.
but yeah, I mean, I'm just being honest, right?
Yeah,
and
for sure.
the functionality of it seems to be working. I didn't bid on anything, so I couldn't tell you for sure if the functionality of bidding and placing my bids worked out. It looked like it worked out until it didn't, right? Until the very end, and this is where we are. But one of my other kind of critiques about it was that if you do a search on Otani Autos, which is what I'm looking for these days, I mean, 7 cards appear. The volume isn't there in terms of what kind of cards are there. So that was a worry of ours at the beginning, right? Like, would people come to find the cards that they actually want? Or is it kind of like Golden in a way? Golden, sometimes you see cards that, I'm really interested in bidding on this. And there are weeks where I'm like, there's nothing I see. Because it's not like eBay where there's millions of cards and you can find something that you're looking for.
Right.
So I think, hindsight's 2020, and you kind of alluded to this, I think, Hyung, but maybe it would have been better if they partnered with not Golden, because Golden is obviously bought out by eBay. So if they left eBay for a reason, Golden's out of the picture. But maybe they go to Fanatics Collect and they work out a sweetheart deal. Saying I want my own corner of Fanatics Collect because I could bring this to the table. Maybe that was the better move.
Absolutely. And I think that's what, like, maybe that's a good point, because the true value lies in why is Probstein valuable, for instance. They've built their own customer base as well, and they have a huge audience. So they have that value, and they don't have to specialize in this whole new idea of Probstein, right? So to your point, I think a different partnership like Fanatics Collect, or someone who already potentially has a platform that has, credibility there, might have been a better, I guess, maybe cost effective and high upside with, a renegotiation of partnerships in terms of, fees and stuff, where there might not be as much overhead. But like I said, we won't know the whole story and why, Rick Probstein, went that way. That's kind of the surface from the outside in. So that's what I would have actually done, if I was him.
I agree. Yeah, I think Probstein's learning some valuable lessons here, right? And for me, I think that's the difference between what Golden did when he launched his own site. I feel like he had a lot more investors, so a lot more money going in, and you actually need a lot of money to start something like this up.
For sure.
Whereas Probstein, I'm sure he's doing well, but Golden is probably on a different level than Probstein is in terms of startups and getting investors to come on board. So I think that's the difference. All right. Well, good luck to Probstein. We'll see what happens when the site is back on, and I'm sure they'll work out the glitches, but long term, I'm not sure if I'm confident how long it will last. All right, let's move on to hobby headlines. All right, we're a couple of weeks behind this story as well, since this issue first popped up again, but it's a pretty big issue. So I'm sure you heard there's shill bidding drama, specifically with high-end collector Patrick Ryan admitting recently to mistakenly bidding on his own item on Fanatics Collect. And when I first heard this, we're all laughing. How can you mistakenly bid on your own item? But I think he has a bunch of items, and he did consign it to a third party who reached out to Fanatics Collect, and that's where the auction is being consigned, or the platform that they're using. for their auctions. So I could see how there could be kind of that error. But the controversy really grew when Patrick Ryan went on Dr. James Beckett's podcast, where they discussed the difference between offensive shill bidding and defensive shill bidding.
What?
So
there's sides of shill bidding? This is interesting.
This is terminology is new to me as well. But for those who aren't aware, I did a little bit of research. In a nutshell, everyone's pretty much against offensive shill bidding, right? That's when you put a bid on your own item, or you get a buddy to put a bid on their own item to ensure maximum value of that item on auction, right? That's what we know about, right? So, but defensive shill bidding is what happens if you don't have a reserve on your auction, right? And Dr. Beckett was giving an example where there's a listing by an auction house which may have incorrectly or poorly described the listing, so it's not getting the right number of traffic or eyeballs to it. So what ends up happening is that it looks like that auction is only going to get 20 cents to $1 in terms of its recent comp value, right? So is it okay then if you say the auction house didn't do well, didn't do their job in listing it, to kind of bid up to if there's a reserve price, bid up to the reserve price to kind of protect recent comps?
Isn't that what a reserve price is for? It's like reserve's not met. So why don't you list on every card a reserve price that if it's not hit, end of story. And to me, it's justification of why you would shill bid in a particular situation, and justifying that it's something different other than shill bidding, because the practice of shill bidding to me is, we shouldn't be saying it's right in any, or defensible in any sort of way. If those are the cases, those are very avoidable. Like I said, if that's the main reason, then put a reserve on every single thing that you feel, you don't want to sell at a certain price. And that's what a reserve's there for, is if the reserve's not met, the item's not sold. And that's your simple solution to that. I think you start getting into really gray areas when you defend shill bidding for any reason, especially because, there are a lot of things that happened in the 90s era, the junk wax era, where, we're not aware of because the communication, the stories don't really leak out. But to justify something like that when it's been always not justifiable. Shill bidding, to me, on an eBay auction, I'd be pretty upset if I'm bidding at that, knowing that somebody else is bidding that shouldn't be bidding, right? And it happens on eBay. It happens in the past. And it's not saying that, I think it's going to go away, because I think it's an issue that kind of has always been around, but no one has really addressed it, or there was never a reason to address it until things like when it does happen, right? Mm-hmm. Like right now in this case. So, I mean, yeah. Before John, you answer, I want to make the counter argument, and I'm playing devil's advocate.
Yeah. I think for most of us here, we're against shill bidding. Okay, I don't want people to write hate mails like, "Oh, Clark from Carts to the Moon loves shill bidding," because the way he's defending it. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. The reason why auction houses, and I'm sure eBay, generally discourage reserves on auction is that it's not friendly to the person, to the buyer or to the user. So just say every auction had an unrealistically high reserve price. And if that was the case, no one's winning an auction. So, you know what I mean? Like, no one's going to get up to the high reserve. And so what auction houses don't want is to deter users from coming onto their platform. If you bid on like 5 items and the reserves were super high, you're like, why am I on this platform? Because I'm not winning any cards. And usually the reserve prices are secret, right? They don't say what it is. So that's the counter argument to why, they don't want auctions with reserves in general, And so if that's the case, Dr. James Beckett was saying that there was no reserve, but the reason why that the bids were super low was the auction house's error in listing it improperly, or maybe without that much detail.
No.
So there are no eyeballs to it. At me as a owner of that card until the bid is won. Maybe I bid to what the reserve price should have been if it was there.
I want to hear Johnny. Let's hear
Johnny.
your take.
Oh man, I'm like 100. There's no such thing as defensive. Like I can understand it. Like so, a scenario came up with Will, on our podcast, Will Choi, and a company was offering a promotion on a certain type. Like I'm not gonna say anything, but on a certain type of card or player, and you get 100% of your sale. So they would take zero commission. It was like a promotional one-time thing. And Will came to me and he's like, if I wasn't happy with this sale, could it? And this is before this suspension. This is a couple of months ago before this thing blew up. He's like, couldn't I just buy my own card back at like no cost to me? Because I'm getting 100% anyways. I'm like, yeah, I guess you could. Like, if you didn't like the price, just buy it back. You pay the card, and then you just get it back. I was like, holy, you could totally do that. So because it's not illegal in any of these platforms, I can understand why people do it. It's just natural instinct. If I'm about to lose thousands of dollars on my card, or even hundreds of dollars, whatever your space is, and you want to protect that, I don't know, like power to you. But the greater or the more macro thing about this is essentially you can just completely market manipulate every comp.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And this is why people now start to go, take eBay with a grain of salt, take some of these sales with a grain of salt. We don't know what's happening here. And I get it. Luca Prism with 20,000 PSA 10s can't really market manipulate that. That is just a function of supply and demand, right? The market will speak for itself. But some of these big boy cards, like if you're looking at Shine 150 and like you're looking at real monstrous cards, it's just so ripe for market manipulation, which is such a shame. So I'm like, yeah, completely against it. I get why it's there. I get why people do it. There's a sort of that defensive element, but this is, I don't know. Somehow they're gonna have to solve this because it's no good.
It's totally a slippery slope, and kind of what you were saying. A lot of these auction houses, even eBay, if you list it, you're not allowed to bid on your own cards. That's just a rule, and they don't want to deal with that. But the problem is, if you consign it to a group, you're not listing it yourself, so you are able to bid on your card, knowing that it's your card that you consign, and that's obviously an easy way of getting around it. Or even having a buddy say, "Hey, this is my card. Can you bid on it?" So there's 2-3 degrees of separation even. So that's hard to police, and I guess that's my next question. Will there be a way that you can essentially prevent shill bidding, even with better technology that's coming out there? I don't know.
I think there will be, or at least trying to reduce it. And what John said is exactly right, and that's the scary part of unregulated markets. And what we get into, and why I'm against shill bidding, is because there's enormous amounts of market manipulation that could be going on. And I'm not saying it is, but I have a strong belief that in some areas, definitely. And that's the scary part about an unregulated market. And for me, it's, realizing that it is the potential harm it could do, I think is more the issue in the macro lens than, yes, you're absolutely right, John. When somebody's fighting for their life and they're trying to cash out on $1,000 card and they're potentially getting $600, for it when it's worth $1,000. Yeah, the individual might, be prone to justify that it's okay. And I get that. I'm not discounting that, because it's kind of then every man for themselves. And, you start contributing, I think, negatively to the hobby. So for me, it's more along those lines of, yes, justifications everywhere. And there's no, right or wrong answer, but I'm hoping that we could collectively see the bigger issue or the negative impacts it does have on our hobby. And, eventually I think, people, the bigger entities like Fanatics, they need to put things in place that make sense for the future
Yeah.
longevity of that, right?
And I think, it's not good for the platforms to allow people that list their own cards to bid on their own cards. Why? Because of what you were saying, John, right? Market manipulation. So some people can argue, if you don't like the price that it's going for and you're willing to pay it and buy it back, what's wrong with that? Like, you're not bidding it up so that you don't pay for it and then have it listed again. Some could argue, what's wrong with me just buying my own card back? But to your point of market manipulation, what happens if you want to bid a little bit more, right? And then create a new comp, and then guess what? You want to list it somewhere else. Like it's such a slippery slope that if platforms start allowing it, then people are not going to trust their platform. It's like, how do I trust that this is a real comp and real deal that's gone through, and not a platform where market manipulation can happen so easily, right? So I think it's also in the interest of eBay and Fanatics Collect to not allow essentially what is shill bidding. Any other thoughts on or concerns that even right now there are some of these fake comps or elevated comps out there because of shill bidders?
Yeah, 100%. And that's why I think it's important to not get swayed by trends. I think seeking true value and understand why a card would hold value, I think, is the most important thing from an education standpoint. If you're dumping enormous amounts of money, we're not talking about base cards here. We're talking about, when we see it all the time. We've seen it with Zion prisms. We've seen it with Luca prisms, silver prisms. Those things, can easily get out of hand. And if you're not buying with true fundamentals of why, let's just say you are in quote unquote investing in sports cards, you believe that, certain fundamentals of the sports card hold value. For us, it might be, we strongly now believe in the Topps Chrome brand. We see in history that, hey, that's the card you kind of want. Or in baseball, Bowman First Chrome. It's like history has told that those are fundamentals. So I don't have a problem investing in those, fundamentals, as opposed to, hey, this card's hot, and then we don't know if it's being manipulated, because most likely trends follow that same. And it's not saying that manipulation can't happen on like classic vintage cards. It happens everywhere. But just buy with proper fundamentals of, hey, this is a good investment. This is a solid investment. I truly believe in it. And I think when you do that, you can never go wrong, because, regardless of price, you truly believe the value is there in the future, right? So,
What do you think, John?
Yeah, I think generally it is a concern. Do I think it exists out there in the stratosphere? 100%. It's out there, and I mean we've seen it happen before. Like I firmly believe. Remember when the Mac Jones Don Russ came out and it was like a $10,000 comp?
Yeah.
Like if I put on a criminal's hat, I could see how that happens, right? Let's say you just start ripping whatever. You can even say it about, I don't know, the NBA Prism manga, like the new stuff, which I'm gonna get to in my 1v1 little teaser. But anytime a
Uh-huh.
new product comes out, and like let's say the three of us opened 1,000 cases of Donruss and we grabbed as many Mac Joneses as possible. And then the first couple of listings come out and the three of us just shill bid it, right? Like we'll shill bid the first Mac Jones to like 5 grand. And then the second one comes out, and we'll shill bid that one to 5 grand. And then next thing you know, you got two comps at 5 grand. Like, whoa, what's going on? And then we start listing the ones that we have, right? And and we start catching on that money. So I get
Yeah.
like not just defensive shill bidding, but like any form of market manipulation, it's out there. And um, yeah, it sucks. And I don't know how or what the answer is for eBay and some of these auction houses on how they can regulate it, because at the same time, they don't want to be too restrictive because they also want to make money, right? So it's like
Exactly.
this little
Yeah.
battle right now. Like unless there is some other bigger governing body that brings down the hammer, it's just gonna kind of continue on this path. So I don't know what the answer there is. It's out there. It sucks. Everyone has to kind of watch out for themselves and be careful. Like I don't that there's no much more to say to that. other than that, I guess.
Yeah, no, you got to do, yeah, for sure. You got to do your own research. And as you're talking, I was just envisioning a criminal organization just in their, dark lair or basement, just ripping cards, just like, this is how we're going to make money, guys.
And it's confirmed that it was John who had those $5,000 Mac Jones sales.
Yeah. The mastermind.
Mastermind. That's genius.
That was a genius plan. No, it's right from market manipulation, like you said, and I think this is a good segue to the last question I had on this segment. Some auction houses do bid up to their reserve prices. I believe I read that it is a legal practice. So if you do have a stated reserve price, and it's not even close to reserve price, some auction houses might bid up to that because I guess their justification is if they don't do that, then it's not going to get sold anyways. So might as well bid it up to the reserve price and to see if that spurs on any other bidders to bid one more, which would be over the reserve price. Do you think that's okay? Or do you just not agree generally with that kind of practice?
See, I think that's a little different because it's not necessarily individuals listings that you're trying to individually do it. You're protecting if that's a policy, let's just say, and it's a trusted auction house. I don't necessarily see like anything wrong with that because I don't think they're trying to up the bid like because it would just be that minimal amount, right? And it's their platform, so they're more trusted than an individual, let's just say listing a card on eBay and doing it that way where they're personally benefiting from it. You know what I mean? So I think situationally, I think that would be a lot more justifiable than what we are discussing.
How about you, John?
I think I disagree. I think it's still a form of market manipulation. I think it's similar to if we were selling our home, and there's no potential buyers. You got nobody coming, but the real estate agent comes to let's say we were buying a home and their real estate agent comes and says, "Hey, we got like 3 offers on the table at $1 million. Do you want to pay 1.1?" Like, you got 24 hours to react, even though it's not there. They're clearly just sort of lying to you to get the sale done, right? So that it's a form of it's bad. I think it's personally bad practice because you're kind of representing that the market is at a certain price. It's there. Now you have to make the decision. Do you want to bid on this to go a little bit above whatever the market is supposed to be at, right? So that I don't agree with it as well. I get why auction houses do it. They're trying to entice some activity, and obviously they're making commissions, so they want to make some money, and they're also protecting some of their listers. But all of this is I don't. It's a form of manipulation in some sense. Maybe less than the shill bidding, less manipulation,
Right.
but it's manipulation.
I tend to agree more with John. Like I think it's okay at the very least if it's super transparent that the auction house is putting up a reserve bid. So if I could see that this auction it's met the reserve because the auction house put that reserve bid on it, then fine. But that's the thing. I don't know how transparent they are. I think you might just see that the reserve price has been met, and you don't know if it's the auction house or if it's another buyer.
Right.
So if there's that transparency, fine, I'm okay with it. But generally speaking, I don't like it either because if an auction house has to put that reserve bid, I would rather have them not and kind of show me more clearly, the market thinks in general that this card is not worth that much anymore. Right. So they got to relist it. That's what they got to do. Sure. And knowing that the reserve price hasn't been met, if it doesn't meet it again, then relist it. And then, at some point, it's like selling a home, using that analogy. Right. You got to lower your price. You can't just keep it you can keep it high, just expect not to sell it. So that's kind of where I stand.
It makes sense what you guys are saying. And now that I think about it, I think the reserve is the answer. It's like that's what a reserve's there for. Let it play. If the reserve's not met, you're not going to sell it. You're not going to be pissed. Right. It is what it is. And that's what a reserve's there for. If you have to keep on listing reserves and people might be scared to bid, that's the excuses that they make to justify. I say, you know what, like it should be easy. It's like if you have an issue, put a reserve, and I think you shouldn't justify a defensive shill bid, because if you have that option with the reserve, that it is what it is, right?
Yeah. I'm going to say this one more time. I don't want to.
Or
Sorry, you're gonna say something?
don't. Or if you wanted to remove reserves, just buy it now. Don't even. You can't put it in an auction unless it's you just run it straight, right? Like an auction is, it's going and it is what it is. If you're
Yes.
scared of not getting market price, then list it at what you want it, like as
Right.
if you list a house, right? List it at $1 million, and if you don't get that, you will have to adjust your buy it now price.
And it goes both ways. I've done auctions where I'm like, damn, it went way higher than
Right.
expected.
Right.
And there are times I'm just like, damn, like nobody bid on, somebody got a deal, and I had to ship it out.
Yeah.
It is what it is. So it's like, that's why I agree with John. Like an auction's an auction. And that's why if there's an issue, use the reserve. If not, like let it play out, and there should be zero shill bidding. So, and sometimes I look forward to purchasing on, bids. I think it's thrilling sometimes to bid on items, right? So I don't mind the whole auction process. So I agree. Like you gotta just let it play out.
Yeah. And Clark,
Yeah.
sorry, before you go on, Clark, the point you made
No,
earlier
go
is,
ahead.
is a great eye-opening point, because you know how you mentioned before, auction houses sometimes don't like reserves, because if there's no activity, then consumers gonna be like, why the heck am I on eBay if everything is on reserve, right? And I think you said I would like it if they were transparent about the reserve. That's a great point, because if they were transparent about it, hey, we put the $500 bid, like we did it. I think the easy answer to all of this is what? Like, that's a bad look
Yeah.
for the auction house. You're like, what are you doing? Like, that's stupid. Like, why did you put the bid at $500? Like, no, I'm not in
Yeah.
agreement with that. So I think that is a clear, for me at least, as a consumer, it's a clear answer that having the reserve or manipulating the reserve in the background,
Right.
not transparently. If you were to do it transparently, the clear answer is it would probably be a bad look. So the whole thing is just not a good practice.
Agree. In business, transparency is usually a good thing. So
Right.
I think it applies here as well. And I was going to end this segment by saying we're all against shill bidding. I don't want any of these clips to be aggregated out and edited and manipulate it in a way where it says, where it sounds like this podcast is endorsing shill bidding. We're not for sure. So I just want to make that clear.
And there shouldn't
But if
be
you-
it shouldn't be a sport either. There shouldn't be offensive and defensive shill bidding. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Shill bidding. Yeah, I agree. All right. If you have any thoughts or feedback on this issue, we'd love to hear it as well. You could always DM us at Cards to the Moon or at 5Card Guys on Instagram. Okay, let's go on to our next segment. It is Over Under. All right, I gave this Over Under segment a little bit of a twist. Okay, so it's not going to be one set number. Actually, it's going to be one set number for most of them, but it's not going to be, do you think this card sold for more or less? It's all recent, kind of essentially recent things that have popped up in the hobby that's sold for around in this case, over or under $100 mark. Okay, so let me just start. You'll get what I'm saying. The first one is Labubu Topps Chrome 10th Anniversary Box. And Will, Roy, and I, we actually Will was able to get a case, so we're just buying boxes off Will. But it was $50 for one box at pre-sale. And it hasn't shipped out. I think it's going to ship out closer to Christmas, actually. But you could buy the pre-sale ones on eBay. What do you think they're going for now? Over or under $100?
Wow.
Like Labubu Topps Chrome.
Labubu,
10th
we talked
anniversary
about this.
box. Yeah.
10th anniversary box. I mean, we said
What does
that it
what
was
does
a
it even
trend
mean,
and it's a
anniversary
fad.
box? Did they even
I know.
come out with this before?
I think maybe Labubu is 10 years old officially.
That's crazy. I thought it just blew up recently, but I guess it's been dormant.
So it's probably just blew up viral just recently. So this would be the first edition of like their pop culture sports cards. But we said Labubu is kind of like fading out, right?
Yeah.
But we have our host buying these things. So it's obviously, in demand, or at least, there's sales. People are buying it because if you guys are buying it, like I wouldn't take you guys as Labubu fans, but Will got a case. Like that's insanity. So I'm going to say it's over.
Okay.
I cannot believe you guys bought Labubu Topps Chrome. That's so...
You got to look at the cards. It looks nice.
Is it? That's like, Topps Chrome has done a great job of like capturing all of these little like pop culture collaborations, and they've been like clearly they want to make some serious money, so they're just pumping this stuff out. The Labubu craze, I think it's a flash in a pan. Like I think it's already on its way out. I hope you guys make some good money on it. I think I would guess it's less than $100. Like I think it's on its way out, but yeah, I hope you get your boxes soon so that you can just get rid of it quick.
That might be the plan. But it's coming out in a month, so I'm a little worried. But like I said, the pre-sale, you could have got it for $50 US. You could buy it on eBay right now for $90.
Oh wow!
So there you go. It's under 100.
Right. That's good ROI still.
Yeah, if you flip it right away.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Next one. I don't know if you heard. I just saw this myself earlier today. Bobby Witt partnered with Whataburger, right? The franchise, the burger franchise stores. And I guess you could get promo cards of Bobby Witt, different promo cards of, there's one where he's holding a Whataburger card. So it's like a baseball card with Bobby Witt on it. And there's an orange foil one. It's not numbered, but it's I guess it's more limited because it does have a foil to it. It recently sold on eBay. Over or under $100?
If it's over, it's a shill bid.
Is it Topps Chrome?
No, it's just
just
unlicensed Bobby Witt Whataburger promo card.
You know what? He should have ate.
And not all of them have foil on it. Some of them are like more paper.
Yeah.
So
you know what would have been sick? He eats a Whataburger, then with his greasy hands greases up one of the cards. So there's a Bobby Witt grease stain, and then he autos it 1 of 1. That would have been Whataburger promotion genius.
Parallel.
Who would actually go for that card?
I like it.
That is awesome.
Okay, sorry. That was a crazy tangent.
You need to be on the Whataburger marketing team.
Yeah. Orange foil Bobby Witt over under 100. That was the question.
Mm-hmm. Sold on eBay recently.
Unlicensed. I gotta go under. But the fact that you bring up this question, I feel like it could be over.
Yeah, exactly. I know it should be under, but it's gonna be over.
Yeah.
I'm saying under too.
Okay, you're going for with your mind, with your brain.
Yeah, logic.
With your logic.
Yeah. Logic. I'm gonna check Hobby Logic here.
It's sold for $60,
okay.
under 100, but still $60 for a $5 combo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's crazy.
A little nuts. All right, speaking of fast food combos, I was going to save this for Roy, but I'm going to use it on you guys. The Pikachu, the Japanese McDonald's Happy Meal promo. Remember that just a couple months ago, where and it was only in Japan. And then you saw clips online where people were just buying Happy Meals and dumping it on the side, like hundreds of Happy Meals just to get the promo card.
So crazy.
The PSA 10 pop count is almost at 115,000 right now.
Holy.
Okay?
Wow.
So, that is nuts.
So there's a lot. And Roy is still waiting for his PSA grading to be back because it's so backlogged. What did it recently sell for? Over or under $100?
115,000 is nuts, guys.
PSA
We're talking
10.
No, but that's what I mean. 115,000 PSA 10s. That's 5-6 times more than any other sport card, I would say, in terms of their base mass-produced, like Zion Williamson, right? Like those prisms. But I gotta say, it's over for some reason.
Wow.
The Pokemon market is pretty hot. I'll say this: when the pop count was like a lot lower than 115,000 what it is now, I think the first one sold for like 300 PSA 10. Yeah,
Makes sense.
but what is it now?
I could see this as being a nice fun collector piece for almost every Pokemon collector. So I think there's, it won't go to zero. It's not one of those kind of cards like a Tyler Hero, like Donruss or something like that.
Yeah,
But I could see it being like $50. I'm gonna go under.
under. Okay.
Yeah.
The last recent sale price I just looked up, $85. So it's now under 100.
Wow.
Yeah. So
It's a buy? Is it a buy?
I might buy one or two off Roy. Roy has a bunch coming, so by the time he gets it in his hand, it might be even lower than 85 US. So we'll see. All right, last one. I'm upping the over under to 1,000, and this might be easy because you might have already seen it. We all tried to get the 2025 Topps Chrome Basketball Jumbo or Hobby, or in some cases, a case of the product yesterday. Sold out under a minute. I think Roy got one hobby box, but everyone else we struck out. The jumbo, the hobby box was going for $370 retail, and the jumbo was going for $699, so $700. Obviously, people are flipping on eBay. Over under 1,000 for the jumbo right now.
Over.
Crazy.
I don't I haven't seen the price, but it has to be over. Like to me, that thing is so hot right now. Like people would overpay for that because who knows, you might be able to sell it for 2,000.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, the fact that we in our chat group wanted it badly, I think even for ourselves,
Yeah.
like potentially to rip it open, says a lot about how desired this product is. 370 USD, it's expensive. I mean, damn, that's
I'm
expensive.
talking about jumbo. This
Oh,
one,
jumbo.
700 for jumbo.
700 for
Yeah.
jumbo USD, and then
Yeah.
this is I could easily, and the fact that it sold out in like 2 seconds, like that's easily double. If I saw it on eBay, I would at least see double the price, and I probably see it
So
selling
you're
at
both going
least double.
over.
So I'm going over.
Okay, the resale on eBay right now is just under 1,200. So it's over.
Wow.
Yeah, not quite double. I think they printed a lot and still sold out pretty quickly.
Right, that's crazy.
So yeah, I hope
Is it a
that goes down
pre-order?
a little bit. Yeah, it's a pre-order.
So I think it's going to keep on going up.
You think so?
I think so for a bit until
Okay.
people realize how stupid it is, and then
Right.
Yeah.
it's
So
going to.
people start getting product and start
Yeah.
ripping.
Well, you got to remember. You got to
it
remember the
also
breakers.
depends on like Cooper Flag, right?
Yeah, you got to remember
Sorry?
the breakers are going to buy up everything that they can as well, right?
Right.
Yeah. And right now Cooper Flag's starting to get hot. The Wemby autos are going to be hot as long as Wemby's playing. I don't know if he's playing right now, but I think those are the big chases. I think VJ Edgecombe too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lots of good rookies.
So it's like it's a good class, and I think the hype is there. So I think it should sustain, especially it being the first Topps Chrome release. People are going to hold this product too. The true heads are going to hold some of this product. So I don't think it's all going to be ripped, and I think the resale market's going to be insane on these.
I can't disagree. It's crazy. The frenzy for Topps Chrome basketball back since 2009, I believe. So the hype's there, and yeah, Wemby and Cooper Flag being in it, for sure, the hype will continue to grow. All right, that's your over-under segment for this episode. Let's finish off with our regular weekly segment we call Pick One. So Hyung, as usual, do you want to start things off for us?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm going to go with two really good players, Aaron Judge and Juan Soto, off-season pickups for $1,000. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
For $1,000. So for $1,000 off-season pickup, I have a 2017 Topps Chrome.
Yep.
They have that 1987 insert, silver pack.
Mm-hmm.
So a gold out of 50, SGC 10, okay, of Aaron Judge, right? I don't know if you could maybe see this, right?
Okay.
Gold out of 50, SGC 10, went on bids for $1,095, so just over $1,000, okay.
Whoa.
So decent deal. I think if you're looking for, you don't like the typical Topps Chrome Aaron Judge, the catching photo. I think it's a little more rare. And then this card,
Oh, that's a rookie year.
Gold,
Yeah.
versus the Juan Soto refractor numbered to 499, or sorry, numbered to 250, Topps Chrome update refractor, SGC 10. Juan Soto's rookie refractor SGC 10 went for 1025 on bids.
Oh, what a deal.
So I think they're both good deals, to be honest. But what would you guys go with if you guys had $1,000 to spend?
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I'll admit I'm obviously a little bit biased. I'm not a Judge collector, although I've come on board, but I do like Soto. So I mean, comes from a slightly biased point of view, but really I think Judge is popping off. So I can't say that that's not a good buy. Like actually I think SGC, sorry, I'm going to take a step back. SGC 10s in general, because of the downfall that we're studying of SGC 10, I think they're great buys, period. And you can, whatever you want to do with it, crack it out and try to regrade it. 100% a great play. The gold is nice, but it's, Judge is becoming unaffordable to many. So obviously people are going to the more obscure cards to try and kind of get within their wheelhouse in terms of price. So I think that's why these cards like the gold, silver packs are such a strong price. I like the Juan Soto better because number one, I think Juan Soto's prices are suppressed. He's a great buy right now, and obviously he had a pretty darn good year again. And he had 30 bags or 30 plus bags, which for the first time in his career, right? So I think he's a buy. It's SEC 10, so it's a buy there. And then you're looking at flagship, right? Like that's flagship refractor at a 250. That's low numbered compared to general refractors and flagship because it's the update. So I'm all for the Juan Soto one, but I could see the arguments on the other side, but it's Juan Soto for me.
Yeah, I was leaning towards Juan Soto, but I don't know. I've been wrong so many times on Aaron Judge, like so many times, and I just think he's creeping up into to Ohtani territory where he's going to be a legend. Like if he isn't to Yankee fans already, to other MLB fans, baseball fans, and I think with that growing hype, and if he continues to do what he's doing for another 2-3 years, 40-50 home runs every season, high average, I think we're beginning to see it with this card. People are going to his lesser cards because his Topps Chrome or Bowman Chrome is just unattainable right now. And look, what are we doing with Ohtani? We're looking for these kind of, second, third tier cards to buy, numbered, because we're just priced out of all the other ones. And these lower end or middle, second, third tier cards are also going up in price, right? So I think the pattern is there to repeat for Judge as well. So I'm going with the Judge. I know it's not a popular card. It's in those silver packs, which I generally don't like, but it is numbered to 50. You do have the RC logo on it.
It is good looking.
It's a better look than his, outfield catch one that I just still don't like. Yep. So I'm going with Judge in this case.
Interesting. I personally like silver packs. I think when you rip them, I love them. And
I do too.
And
I do too.
When you hit, it's great. And I think they're underrated because it's a more limited rookie card than the typical base. But I don't like the fact that it is numbered to 50, but the card doesn't look. It looks like the regular 1987 because it's gold color anyways. Yeah. So it's kind of like takes the gold out of it. Like if you're to go 2018 and do silver pack on Ohtani, a gold one would be like, I think a lot more standoutish on the silver pack rather than that typical year, 2017. So that's my only downfall on that card, where I wish there was more distinguishable features other than the number to 50. on that, but I'm leaning towards Judge as well. Normally I would say Juan Soto, I think, just because what John mentioned, like it's the OG, it's the flagship. And I think if prices go up, that's the first card to kind of go up, because we talked about Juan Soto in the early episodes, that there's not a lot of parallels out there. And what John said, it's the update. There's no Topps Chrome regular Juan Sotos. He was only an update set, so very limited on his rookie. So I think numbered rookies in general are underrated on Juan Sotos, but I think it'll be easier to attain that card rather than the Aaron Judge. I don't think that card, the Aaron Judge card, you have a chance to buy that. Like, it's very difficult. I don't know when the next will appear. It's just so limited, right? And especially if people value that. Like, I think it's a buy at $1,000. Like, if somebody offered that right now to me for $1,000, I think I would be like, deal, right? And then I probably wouldn't sell it. So for me, for that reason, I think I'm gonna go with Judge, just because it'll give me time to find maybe a nicer Soto or something that, might be of good value with Soto too. And I think that's where I would go. I would go paper Soto, paper parallel Soto.
Yeah, I like that play. Yeah, that's a good one. Honestly, if you put that Soto card against anyone other than Judge or Ohtani, I would probably go with Soto, to tell you the truth. But because it was Judge or Ohtani, obviously, I go with those two. All right, John, you want to go next?
Yeah, so I teased the manga a little bit. And I mean, I admit I haven't done my research on the new Prism NBA manga. I just see it all over Instagram of how much they're selling for and how awesome they look.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, I don't think they're all made equal. Some of the images are kind of normal. And then you got like Luca in the sort of like Game of Thrones attire. You got Joker with the cards, which is
That's sick.
Incredible, sick. And then obviously Chef Curry with the cooking up, like. So it looks like this manga thing for NBA. I mean, I know when they originally started it came with some because it's all about the imagery. Whoever the illustrator is, they got to do a bang job, and this one in particular is absolutely killer. I don't know if it's the same illustrator as the the Patrick Mahomes and kind of like the Jon Snow Game of Thrones sort of look like that. That one's another sick one, but I'm gonna go. It looks like manga's here to stay. It looks like manga, and I don't know how rare these are, by the way, as well. They could be SP, they could be SSSP. I don't know. But it's clearly making waves, kind of like stepping on the Kabooms of the world and the Color Blasts as like the new kingpin of rare case hits. So we're gonna go long term, and this is always the quintessential question, like Kaboom or like a rookie card, right? So the Joker Prism 2015 Silver PSA 10 right now goes for like 4 to 5K USD. Right, that's like your standard. And 2015 Prism is low pop. I don't know what it is, but it's low pop. Versus a manga, the last manga of Raw Joker sold for 9K USD.
The latest one?
And I get it.
The manga, the latest one with the Joker card?
With him showing the cards.
Okay, yeah.
I think it was 9K. I could be wrong. That's Raw, by the way. I think the PSA 10 was like 20,000 or some crazy number. But let's say the Raw, obviously there's hype right now, and I don't know, again, I don't know if everybody knows how rare or not rare these are. But let's say it comes down, for argument's sake, for this 1v1. So let's say it does come down to like $5,000. Are you going long term for Joker? Are you in on the specific manga card, or would you rather go Prism Silver Rookie PSA 10, like your kind of like standard investment in Joker?
That's easy for me because I just looked at the pop count for the Silver Prism PSA 10 for Joker, 192.
Oh,
so really low.
Oh, it's low. It's juicy.
I feel like that's a no-brainer. If it was like Luka Doncic Silver Prism pop, then that would be more of a debate. Mangas, that card looks cool, but manga itself, I don't know if I think it's too early to say if it's here to stay or if it's just another fad, And even, I don't know if you heard the last episode we had with Roy and Will, and Roy he's being a manga snob. It's like, if it's not by a Japanese artist, it's not manga. So
Right.
he's like, I don't even know who drew that. It could be an American
That's,
artist.
that's a great point.
But he's like, you can't
Right.
call it manga if it's not by a Japanese artist. So
Right.
um,
But what if it? What if it is?
what if, but yeah,
Then it's that much greater or sicker or
but
authentic.
who would know to find out? I guess. So but if
Right.
I'm gonna go with the Silver Prism rookie.
Are there numbered versions of the manga?
I don't think so.
And what
don't
you
think
said?
so.
What was?
By the way, I also like the latest Bowman baseball ones.
The
I
Bowman
think they're
anime,
sick.
yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I used
always
to
liked
dog
that
them a
anime.
bit just
I
because
know
I'm not a
you-
fan of manga, but I will say the Prism. Those are they Prism?
Which one?
Prism,
Those Prism
yeah.
manga basketball ones.
The
they're-
NBA ones?
They're ridiculous, but they're not that ridiculous. That I'm what the prices I'm seeing. But
Yeah.
I was thinking.
Could be market manipulation.
Yeah, it's perfect, Victor. Especially
Could be Mac
and
Jones.
that's the scary part. We don't know. I mean, you could probably do research on print runs, but you wouldn't know. And I think I'm starting to be a lot more open minded to stuff like manga because I look at like if we all say, okay, what's one of the hottest like 90s card, it would be like PMGs, right? So I could see
Right.
the potential of like non-rookie, super desirable insert. Like Kaboom looks like it's kind of that card, at least in the numbered versions with the gold Brady's selling for, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I get that. To me, I'm like, yeah,
Right.
that kind of like, I would be a lot more open to that if it was numbered because it mimics kind of like that PMG, but a non-numbered set to me is very tricky because I don't know how that's going to age or, what the pop count is on that. Is it what we're seeing? Is it increasing? And obviously the prices right now are at peak and it might not reach that price again. It may too. It might go up tenfold. We wouldn't know, but with that risk, we're like, for me, I'm a casual, like old school, like collector and that pop count of like 192 silver prism. This is why we liked silver prisms in the first place. Early 2012s, 2013s, 14s, 15s, all the way up to, I would say, even 2017, 2016. They weren't mass produced and they started doing that in 2018. So I think, Jokic is just so undervalued in general. Like it's insane his card prices compared to the rest of his peers. I think he's going down as one of the greatest, just because he's winning championships too. So for me, it's not even about individual accolade. It's like he's super, super underrated. But that manga, I think, is overrated, and his Silver Prism is super underrated. So at 4 or 5K, we've seen it all before with the even Kobe Bryant silvers, or the refractors 96 Topps Chrome. If we all said 2003 Topps Chrome refractors of, even LeBron James, Steph Curry Prism, silver prisms earlier, we'd all say the same thing. It's like, man, this is a steal at 4K, 5K. So for me, that's where I see Joker's market. And I think he's so underrated and he's going to get the love eventually, but that silver prism, especially at Pop 192, is something that you keep in the safe. And I think more and more people will do that just based on the legendary status he's accumulating. So for me, it's silver prism. Sorry, I dragged that out a long time.
No.
Loved hearing it.
Do you guys know if this is the first NBA manga? I don't even know.
I don't think so.
Is this the first
There was other
NBA?
ones. Yeah.
Was there another one
Unless I'm
before?
confusing football, but I'm pretty sure there was another one.
I know football there was multiple
Right.
years, but anyways, okay. I'm with you guys on the Prism thing, the low pop count, the lore and the OG-ness of. I mean, I'm so for the original refractors, Topps Chrome included, that I personally think Topps Chrome moving forward should make the refractor numbered. Like pink refractors, those can come once in every pack. Who cares? Pink, like donut circles, but make the refractor numbered out of 1,000 or whatever. Like make the OG refractor kind of like the Juan Soto out of 250 update. Like that needs to be one of the OG needs to be numbered, and it's gonna. I think it
Yeah.
would kill it. Like I think the value, people would love the fact that it's rare. Anyways, besides the point. Back to the 1v1. You know what? I maybe I'm buying into the hype. I don't know. Like I think long term, specifically if a particular artist or whatever does a really great job and the aesthetic of the card looks really awesome. And for this one, if this is in fact the first NBA manga, let I don't know, hope maybe it is. But if it, for example, if the argument is the first one as well, I think that has some merit to it. Kind of like when you look at the kind of goofy images of the original Kabooms. I don't personally like those ones, but those prices are skyrocketing because of the popularity of Kaboom and because they're the OGs from, I don't know when they were from 2012. So I think I'm a fan. Let's say that the mangas did come down in price, like get off of this craziness, and it did come down to kind of similar ballpark. Even for argument's sake, let's say the PSA 10 Joker manga is the same price as the PSA 10 Joker rookie refractor. I think I'm okay with the manga long term. Like I think there's a potential here because I think you may have big buyers that are going to want to complete this, especially because I know there's a Chef Curry and there's a Luca that are also crazy desirable. There could be set collectors of manga similar to PMG, and also the Joker. I think is the best of the three. It looks incredible. So even as your PC, if you were a Joker collector, like having it in your collection is such an awesome piece versus kind of like the original rookie, which is also awesome as well. I'm not trying to say it's not, but I see the argument for manga now. Maybe I'm just drinking the juice a little bit too much, but
So
I
hang
like
on,
it, man.
I know where this
really
is going.
want that. I
I know
really
where
want
this is
that
going.
card.
John's gonna pick the Prism.
Yeah.
And it's a
With all
sweet.
that being said,
What is it with this pick one, man? Both of you guys are drawing it out so long.
It was good. I was literally
Sorry,
just
sorry.
extrapolating what was processing in my head.
Yeah.
So you're going with
The Joker.
okay, the manga.
Manga,
He's sticking with the manga.
Prism.
All right, he's saving
Yes.
his P1.
I'm sticking
Yeah,
with the manga.
pick
I love that card.
It is a sick card, but yeah. Okay, my pick one is pretty straightforward. I'm going up in the upper echelon of values, $50,000. Okay,
Damn.
50,000, and you know what that means? It's Shohei Ohtani, and they're both green refractors, and they're both rookies. Okay, so the difference is one of them's the Bowman Chrome rookie, the batting, right?
Right.
BGS 9.5 auto 10. And the other one is the Topps Chrome green refractor, PSA 10, no auto grade. So you got the Topps Chrome PSA 10 versus the Bowman Chrome BGS 9.5. They both sold for around $50,000 recently.
Oh.
So
Topps Chrome is the one where he has the
No,
leg up.
he's
that's
close
the
up,
Bowman
like
Chrome.
pitching.
it's like a close-up image of him kind of swinging.
Yeah, you see his face more clearly.
No, the Bowman Chrome is a swinging, right? Is what
Yeah,
you said?
Bowman Chrome is where he's batting. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the Topps Chrome non-auto.
No, it's the autograph. They're
that
both
the-
autographed as well. Sorry. Rookie auto.
Oh, they're both
Yeah.
autos. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Topps Chrome rookie auto. Okay,
Yeah.
the one with the face. The one that you
Yes.
owned before.
Yes.
Refractor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry to bring some
Oh,
pain
man.
back, but
Sold
yes.
too early. But go.
Ooh. I'll go first. Um, in a coin flip situation, I'm all about the batting image. So I think this is a coin flip situation. Obviously, the market has spoken. They're basically equal. But I think I don't know. Like I can't even say in the long run because we're at like max peak on Shohei. So the market is speaking in terms of like its maximum
The
potential.
Topps Chrome is also
So clearly
it's
they're
also
even, but
PSA 10 as well. So PSA 10 versus BGS 9.5.
Oh, PSA
Yeah.
10. Right,
So
right,
that's a
right.
factor.
Right. And that's what's making the difference. Right. Okay. Um, I'm still with the batting image, man. I think the batting image is critical to the appeal of the card. So And obviously, Shohei is going to continue to make his mark more so on the batting side than the pitching side. The pitching is just gravy on top. So I think, yeah, it's coin flip 51-49. It's the batting
Bowman
image,
Chrome.
even though it's a BGS 9.5.
Okay. I know what Hyung's going to ask. So the subgrades, if you want to think about cracking it out.
Yeah. I need to know the option there for sure.
They're all 9.5 except centering is a 9.
Okay, so Min Gen.
Yeah.
See, normally, like, it's the Bowman Chrome image for me, normally. But this is my justification of why I would lean towards the Topps Chrome image. I would say in order, and this is probably unanimous, but it's going to be Bowman flagship. The pitching auto is going to be the most desirable. Then they released Bowman Chrome, which is his batting image auto. And then Topps Chrome was his third. So it was always 1, 2, 3 of demand. In the earlier days, I would say 1, 2 was like neck and neck, but it was always 1, 2. And then Topps Chrome kind of like there's a huge gap, right? Like in terms of desirability. I feel like that gap between 2 and 3, Bowman Chrome and Topps Chrome, have diminished immensely to the point where, like we said, it's almost even. The difference is a PSA 10 versus a BGS 9.5. In normal circumstances, I still believe the Bowman Chrome is a superior card. But I think in this situation, I would go Topps Chrome green auto because I know that some dumb guy will value that way more because it's a PSA 10, even though to us, we're just like, you know what? The value is in the BGS 9.5, right? But some dumb guy is going to overvalue that. And to me, that's the only reason I would. And I think it would look phenomenal in a Topps or in a PSA 10 case, that specific card of an Ohtani auto. I think eye appeal wise, massive. So I'm going to go Topps Chrome green auto.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, kind of using your points, I'm going for the value. I know the value is there with the BGS 9.5. I hate the fact that I'm paying even a bit of a premium for the PSA 10 for the Topps Chrome. And it's Bowman Chrome too. Like, I would rather have the pitching. I think that's number one. But the batting is like a 1B, really. So, because it's Bowman Chrome, the brand, and it's also better value with the BGS 9.5. I'm going with the Bowman Chrome. All right. There you have it. Another great episode. We appreciate you guys. We'll have a brand new episode for you guys next week. So we'll see you then. Talk to you later. Bye. Hey, thanks for listening to Cards to the Moon. We'd really appreciate you subscribing to our podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. And you can also connect with each of us on Instagram at 5cardguys, or you can follow Hyung at Integrity Sports Cards, or John at TradeU at Recess. You can also check us out at 5cardguys.com. Thanks again, and hope to connect soon.